Our top story on Barbara Hogan's testimony at the state capture inquiry. We cross to our reporter, Mzwandile Mbeje, who has been monitoring the situation there. Mzwandile, very interesting testimony coming out from Barbara Hogan. She's not holding back at all. Just tell us what your observations have been.
Very interesting indeed, Nombu. This testimony of the former Minister of Public Enterprises, Barbara Hogan, particularly with regards to the role of the ruling party, the ANC. She was actually, I would say, scathing in her comments insofar as what the ANC has been doing when it comes to the issues of deployment. She spoke about the deployment committee of the ANC, which she says she actually doesn't see its usefulness because there are just a few people who just decide on such a number of appointments that have to be made. So that is basically one of the issues that we picked up, Nombu. The reason why perhaps I'm going to this, you'd remember that when the commission started, many people were saying the ANC is on trial here, but the ruling party, as you know, was at pains to say the ANC has nothing to do with this, it's the individuals. So given that one of the senior members really of the ANC, Miss Barbara Hogan, is actually verbalizing her unhappiness about the role of the deployment committee and of course the NWC. She says later on she will be reading a statement where the NEC really rebuked her because they had indicated that SAA may need to have equity partners. They basically said, you know, you don't have to say that. So it's quite interesting. But perhaps what she has just said, concluding her testimony just for the lunchtime, is the issue really of what she calls the interference by the former President Zuma. She is mentioning the issue of the appointment of the CEO of Transnet. She says when she assumed the office in May 2009 as the Minister of Public Enterprises, so she had time to brief the then president about the processes that had led to the appointment of the new CEO of Transnet, which was to be Sipho Maseko in terms of the recommendation. Remember, the earlier recommendation had been the current Minister of Public Enterprises, Pravin Gordhan, but because he was to be appointed the Minister of Finance, so he withdrew his name, and then the name of Sipho Maseko came to the fore. But when Barbara Hogan briefed the then president, she says the president made it clear that no one else would be appointed there because he wanted Siyabonga Kama as the CEO of Transnet. And then she says she was totally shocked at that suggestion. And then they had some kind of what she says a compromise. And then she says the minister then also objected to that. And then the president said then, okay, if we are not about to appoint Mr. Gama, it means no member of the board must be appointed at this stage. So those were some of the things, Nombu, really, that came out as this process continues. We are at lunchtime now, and then she will continue about what else happened. So this was one example which she says is the interference of the then President Zuma.
All right, Mzwandile, I think we're going to leave it there, and of course we'll catch up with you as the day progresses on this particular story.